the president of the American Academy of Pediatrics said federal immunization policy is, quote, no longer a credible process, and it's being politicized at the expense of children. That's a pretty stunning statement. Do you agree with the Academy of Pediatrics?
Well, look, you're right. I worked in the first Trump administration. I was fortunate to do that and proud to serve in that administration. I think we did a lot of important things on public health. We presided over the first cell and gene therapy approvals. The president tried to expand access to those treatments through the right to try legislation that he championed. He supported the FDA in an effort to try to keep tobacco products out of the hands of kids, record number of generic approvals, and a lot of other accomplishments. I think a lot of people on my side of the political aisle feel that a lot of these policies that Secretary Kennedy is championing are going to be contained to vaccines and not bleed into a broader public health doctrine. I think that's not right. I think there's a lot of people now who don't think these things are particularly political or shouldn't be, and don't think these decisions should be politically decided, who are going to find when they go to the doctor's office that vaccines that they may want to protect their lives or the lives of their families aren't going to be available. This does look like a political process right now. The secretary is going after issues that have long been bugaboos of him and his anti-vax group, Children's Health Defense. I don't think that's unmistakable at this point. I think that he would probably acknowledge that he's taking on issues that he's championed for the last 20 years to restrict access to certain vaccines. That's going to grow. The list is growing, and it's going to start to be very tangible for people and go well beyond just the COVID vaccine, which is, I think, what most people think about when they perceive this administration's or the secretary's efforts to try to restrict access to vaccines.
So one of the specific things from this meeting was advice to avoid flu vaccines containing an ingredient called a thimerosal. Right around the same time as the meeting, the CDC removed information from its website that debunked claims that this ingredient was linked to autism. Secretary Kennedy says it's journalists who are obscuring the truth. What do people need to know about the flu vaccine and this ingredient?
Yeah, so this is an old ingredient. It's a preservative used in multi-dose vials of flu vaccine primarily. Only a very small percentage of flu vaccine vials still contain it. What it is an ingredient that's added to multi-dose vials because those vials you're going to go in and out of with different needles as you administer the vaccine to different patients. So they're not single-dose injections, they're multi-dose vials. They're primarily used in some busy clinics, almost exclusively in adults right now. Back in the early 2000s, I was at FDA when we reformulated the vaccines. So we compelled manufacturers to reformulate the vaccines to take this preservative out, not because we thought it was unsafe, but because there was a lot of consternation among anti-vax groups that they thought that there was a link between this ingredient and autism. The ingredient does contain small amounts of ethyl mercury, not methyl mercury, ethyl mercury, which is the same kind of mercury found in fish, in very small amounts. And so we compelled the manufacturers to reformulate the vast majority of vaccines. Still 4% of flu vaccines that get administered mostly to adults are from these multi-dose vials. This has long been a bugaboo of the secretary and his group, the Children's Health Defense Fund. In fact, the only presentation at the ACIP meeting was from the head of that group. And you're right that there was a countering analysis from the CDC officials asserting that there's no link between thimerosal and autism. That analysis was taken down from the website. The secretary put out a statement that said that it didn't go through proper review.
We're going to take a break, Dr. Gottlieb, and talk more with you on the other side of this.